Okay, so we're here doing Motorway. First track you want to do is a software instrument, so I'm going to say create on that. And the instrument track, you really want to try and go and get an instrument in there, and let's get some drums. I'm just going to go in and get Drum Kit Designer. Why not? Let's just try that. That'll do, that'll be fine. And if we call those drums in our first track and we press the P key, we should have our drums down here. We've got our score over this side. Let's have a quick listen. There's the score for that. So we want a muted guitar, we want to get a tambourine in there at some point, we want some drums, we want an organ, jazz guitar. As it says at the top of this score, if you want to get access to the scores, it's in the same resources folder as usual. So you want to go on your shared area. If you go to share, music, and then you go to resources, BTEC, year 1, unit 32, and the folder you're looking for is called Motorway. If you look in there, you should find the resources for this. Let's just have a quick look at the resources. There's quite a lot of resources in this. So there's the resources for Motorway. The most important bit that you've got here is the Motorway instructions. You need to get the Motorway instructions up. You can also just get the straightforward piano roll views if you wish to. That's just the same piano roll views that are in the instructions. Okay, so there's some piano roll views for that. I'm just going to close that one down. So you've got a bunch of those things. There's also a Motorway example WAV, so we can actually have a listen to this. I think the best way to do this, as people were doing the other day, is to drag this into Logic, so you can have a quick listen in. Let's do this, and let's have a listen to what that sounds like. So this is the Motorway example. As you can hear, it's quite repetitive. You drag that into Logic so you can actually hear what it is. I'm going to drag mine over to the side so I don't need to mute it. It will just stay over there. If I want to listen to it, I can just play it back. The instructions say at the top, although it says Pro Tools session, we know we're using Logic now. Change your tempo to 110, please. That's the tempo for this one. And what we need to do is the parts are laid out in how difficult they are. So we need to do a muted guitar first. So let's put a new software instrument track in there. And I'm going to come up here to this bar and I'll type in muted guitar. Let's see if we get lucky. We're not. Let's just try a guitar sound then. Okay, so we've got a bunch of guitars there. Let's see if we've got something that's going to work for this. Not that one. Quite like it. That might work. Let's try a Mexican guitar, modern guitar. It's a bit too much. That'll do. So we're going to use teardrop guitar for the second. We're going to come into there. We're going to do a 1-bar loop, which is just on an A key. So this piece is in A minor. So I'm going to set my loop up at the top and zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to put the loop on for just 1 bar. And I'm going to just double click next to my teardrop guitar track. And I should be able to get a MIDI part up. So I'm going to create an empty MIDI region, right click and create one. There's a teardrop guitar, and I'm going to want that. I'm probably going to program it actually. I could play it, but I'm going to program it. I'm going to do a whole bar of that. There's my bar. The score says that there should be 8 notes across there, so it's 8ths. I can see 16ths on the grid, so I'm just going to go and get the pencil and make sure that I draw the notes in the right length. If I draw the first one in as an 8th rather than a 16th, if I move the end out and draw it as an 8th, all of the rest of them draw in as 8ths. There you go, that's my first bar, done. So that's the muted guitar. I'm going to do the drums next. We'll find a tambourine a little bit later. Let's do the drums next. Bear in mind this is old school notation from a piano roll that was on a different piece of software. So it shows its drum parts as single hits, which is absolutely fine. That's a kick, snare, and they should all be crotchets. So let's right click here and say create empty MIDI region. Just going to double click on that, and that gives us our drums. There's a tambourine at the bottom there, which is great. So I want a kick on the first beat, and I want that to be a crotchet long so I know what I'm doing. I want a snare, I want kick, snare. So then I've got this. Now we can work through our sounds a bit later as long as we've got the notes in place. You can always experiment with your sounds a little bit later. I'm also going to put in a new software instrument now, and this one's for the tambourine. And I'm just going to go and get some, let's see if we can actually get a tambourine. That's interesting. Let's see what, there you go, an entire keyboard's worth of tambourine. So I'm just going to go up and find tambourine, and it wants me to put it on an F sharp note, so I'll do that. Right click again, empty MIDI region, just one bar, tambourine. And the tambourine part, as you can see here in that one bar, is on the 2nd and the 4th beat in the bar. So as you can hear it, there, there. So your tambourine part would go there and there, and you got this. There you go, that's the tambourine part. Next part in this one is probably going to be a bit more interesting. So the organ part. So we're going to put a new instrument in, and we're going to program the organ. So let's find ourselves some organ. I want like a transistor organ, really. That's the kind of sound that this is after. Let's see if they've got anything. Tone wheel organ, that might do it. Yeah, that'll be fine. So we can use a tone wheel organ for the second. And this time we want a 4-bar loop. So I'm actually going to copy the other parts so I can hear them. I'm going to copy the other parts across by pressing Alt on the keyboard. And then I've got 4 bars of all of the rest of the parts. There you go, there's those 4 parts. We can make the sound a bit better later. I'm going to not play this, but I'm going to draw this one in. So I'm going to create an empty MIDI region, and I'm going to make sure it's 4 bars long exactly. So I'm just going to clip that in. There you go. Double click on that. There's my empty MIDI region. So I want that looping. Now these notes are semi-breve. So this is a 4-bar loop where the chords are in semi-breves, whole bar notes. Okay. So the first one is this. Okay, wrong one. So the first one's an A minor chord, just in root position. Okay, so watch out for reading that on the score, by the way, because it looks a little bit like a D because of the way the printing's come out. So I'm going to actually program this above C3, so it makes it slightly more compact, and I'm going to use the pencil to draw that in. There you go. Right, I'll zoom in just a little bit so we can see that a bit better. Okay. Turn the volume on that one down a little bit because it's a bit loud. That's fine though, that works nicely. The next chord, we maintain 2 of those notes and we stick this G in above instead. We take away the A. So let's just come back into here. So you've got a C. There you go. A minor C, and then we're going to maintain that G at the top, but we're going to come down and put the 2 notes for a G there. So we're actually going to have a first inversion G after that. So maintain the G at the top. We're going to put a B down here and a D. And the last one should be F. So we're just going to do that. So we're going to put our F in there, and then we need an A, which is here, and then we need a C, which is there. Is that what we were after? F, A, and C. Let's have a quick look at that score. Yep, that's exactly right. So there's your line. So there's that one. The next line that we need to do is the bass line. Okay, so we need to get ourselves a bass. We need to put this quite distinct bass in. So there's only 3 more lines to do. There's a bass, a jazz guitar, and a bass lead. Another software instrument. Going to go up here. Going to write bass in. We want like a normal P bass, a fingered bass, something like that. So let's see what we've got. Liverpool bass might well work. It's quite loud, but it'll work. Okay. So you could play this one in. So the bass line goes. So all it does, very simple. I'm just going to record that one in. I'm going to put my metronome on up there, and I'm just going to record this. There you go. So I'm just going to nip in there, double click on that, and I'm going to quantize those notes. I'm going to shrink that down so I can see it. So if you don't know how to quantize your notes, then this is how you do it. Let's nip in there. We need to be able to see them all. They all need to be selected. Functions. I'm going to quantize them to, let's have a quick look. My snap I want on this just set to 8s. I'm going to quantize them to 8s in this case. So functions, quantize notes, and that should now be a little bit more solid. There you go, that's that one done. I'm going to just do the last 2 parts. I'm actually going to do the bass, the lead bass first. So it does an offset bass sound to that. I'm actually going to use a squelchy sound on that one, so let's use another bass sound. What we want is some kind of acid bass or something. Not that one. No. That'll do it. That's nice. Right, so we're going to play this one in as well. So there's the bass lead, the last part down the bottom. We'll do the jazz guitar in a second. This is on the offbeat 8s, so this is how it sounds. So we're just going to play that one in. You can play these in or draw them in. Okay, if I was going to draw this one in, I would be doing it like this. Let's just see about drawing this one in. So if I was going to draw this one in, again I'd draw it in making sure that I was on 8s with my snap, because that's really helpful. So have a quick look at it. On the offbeats then, going to grab a pencil. There you go. There's that crotchet, then those two quavers, so does that, and then it goes down to a G and then back up to an A, and both of those are crotchets, but it's always on the offbeat. And then the next bar across is 2 Gs, so on the offbeats 2 8s and a crotchet again. And in the last bar you've got an F, which is on 2 8s and then a quarter on the last note. That's the lead bass. Okay. The last one that's going in is this jazz guitar. So I'm just going to search up here for guitar and change these sounds later. Let's have a look for a jazz guitar. Nothing like that. Perhaps I might go for an acoustic guitar then. That'll do it. So we're going to go for an acoustic guitar here. And I'm just going to draw my line in. This one is exactly the same rhythm, by the way, as the bass line. Okay, it's exactly the same rhythm as the bass line. So something you could do in terms of editing this, is you could cheat. There's a really good cheat here, which is that you copy the Liverpool bass line, press Alt, copy it, and just shift it down onto that jazz guitar line. Now at the moment, all the notes are wrong, but the rhythms are right. So this is the point where I might just grab the pointer tool and select it all. It all wants to go up by an octave. There you go, it's a bit twitchy. That's possibly still a bit high. Pick the octave later. Do it now, and then we can do that later. So you want A, so it starts on a C. The first two notes are C and then D. So we're just going to move these up, and then that one. There you go. So there you go. And I'm going to just shrink this down just the tiniest bit so it's easier to manage. The next one is, the next bar starts on the E, E, F. So I'm going to run those notes all up to the E. And then that one goes up to the F. That note's not long enough, so I'm just going to make that one a bit longer. And then the next one we've got is a B, and an A. So let's move these ones onto the B. B, B, A. again isn't quite long enough, so I'm going to make that longer. And then the last little bit is A, G. That's the last bit of that melody. So then you will be done. That's the quickest way of doing this. A, G. So there's your melody played on a acoustic or jazz guitar sound. You can change the sounds to your heart's content after this. Right, you need to end up with a 32 bar arrangement of this, and at the end of your 32 bar arrangement, one of the most important things you're going to do, let's just copy this stuff across. So you want to do a 32 bar arrangement, but during this 32 bars you're going to do some improvisation after the first 8 bars, add some parts to this, make it sound a bit better. One of the main things you need to practice doing is at the very end of this you need to copy these parts over, but you want to create a last note on all these parts. So we're going to just edit this stuff, edit this MIDI, each one of these. So you're going to just delete each note away so that you've got an end part. It's not going to be any tambourine at all. So when you get to the end of this line, it will just play one hit on everything. So this is me just making that won't play because it's on the offbeat, and then this one probably will play. Alright, so when you reach the end of your piece, it should sound, not that, should sound like this. And here it is. There you go. So you get a finality to the piece at the end, so you need to make sure that you've got an end to it. Alright, that's the end of the video demonstration.